Is disparity the problem, or are the criminals the problem? Welcome to Rising Crime. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the word disparity means a lack of equality or similarity, especially in a way that is not fair. We hear all the time about racial disparities in the criminal justice system. We hear how black people are incarcerated at nearly 5 times the rate of white people. We hear that 1 in 81 black adults in the U.S. is serving time in prison. 1 out of every 81. We hear how 12 states have prison populations that are more than half black. Those are Alabama, Delaware, Georgia, Illinois, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Mississippi, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. And we hear how 7 states have prison populations that are larger than 9 to 1 black to white. Those states are California, Connecticut, Iowa, Maine, Minnesota, New Jersey, and Wisconsin. We hear all this, and all the good-hearted politicians believe that they need to clear the jails to remove this disparity. I agree, there is a disparity, and it's a much larger one than that. It's a disparity of victims, a disparity of people being murdered in the streets of America as if their lives didn't matter. But no one cares about that disparity. 12.6% of the population in the United States is black. Yet in many states, over 50% of the prison population is black. That does show a lack of equality or similarity, but the especially in a way that's not fair part does not exist. Because in cities all across America, the number of black victims is much higher. Of the 480 murder victims in Chicago this year, 372 were black, or 77%. Less than 5% were white, just 22 victims. And it's common knowledge that people tend to kill people of their own race. So if 77% of the victims are black, and people kill their own kind, one could deduct that 77% of the murderers were black as well. So if 77% of the people in prison in Chicago are black, that's not a disparity, that's just statistics. And of the 22 white people killed in Chicago this year, a number of those were killed by black men as well. But we won't get into that right now. Same is true in Baltimore. The city lists 247 homicides this year, of which 90 the race is listed as unknown. So of the 157 where the race is known, 148 are black. That's 94%. 6 were white, or 4%. In Milwaukee, there have been 162 homicides this year. 82% of the victims were black, and only 6% were white. So in those 3 cities alone, we had 77%, 94%, and 82% of the victims of murder being black, and 5%, 4%, and 6% being white. There's a huge disparity in those numbers. Using an average of the 3 cities, 84% of the victims are black and 5% are white. So we hear that black people are incarcerated at a rate of 5 to 1 over white people. But in these 3 cities, they are being killed at a rate of 16 to 1. And if black people kill black people, then the disparity of victims is nowhere near the disparity of prisoners. And statistically, there should be more black people in prison. Way more. Like 3 times more. At least in these 3 cities. When people put on blinders and only look at things through a narrow scope, they don't see the clear view of everything that is going on. I agree. There are more black people than white people in state prisons. But in federal prisons, there are more white people than black people. No one complains about that. And from strictly a murder standpoint, the disparity of black victims far outweighs the disparity of the black prison population. When people in Chicago stop trying to fix one disparity by causing another disparity to get far worse, aka let murderers out on bond to keep killing till their court dates, thus resulting in more deaths of many more people, Which disparity is worse? Too high a percent of blacks behind bars, or too high a percent of blacks, oftentimes innocent people, being murdered? I would argue the latter. Well, that's all I got for you today. Stay safe, America. Keep your head on a swivel, and remember, a bullet can travel over a mile unimpeded. So keep dodging those strays till these shooters get better aim. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.